Welcome back to the second part of our three-part series on our visit to Falls Creek Falls State Park in Tennessee. As originally planned, part 1 showed the campground, the campsite, and the village. This part will show the rivers and the falls and some of the natural beauty of the park, and part 3 will cover my hike from the Overlook at Falls Creek Falls down to the base of Falls Creek Falls. So sit back and enjoy the beauty of the Falls Creek Falls State Park. Let's begin our tour of some of the sights in Falls Creek Falls at George Hole. George Hole is a swimming area on the Kane River, just about a quarter to a half mile away from the campsites. It's a very popular area, and you'll see a lot of people swimming and enjoying this area. I thought I'd show you the George Hole before all the people showed up for the day to go swimming and playing in the river. As I said, this is a very popular spot, and by the end of the day you're going to see a lot of people swimming down here. So this is the George Hole in its quiet early morning state. As you can see, it's now later in the day and the families have shown up to enjoy the George Water Hole, and we have joined them in the water for a nice swim. Want to walk along this way and see if there's a way up? Sure. Well, that was George Hole. I hope you enjoyed seeing that. We enjoyed playing it. It's a wonderful swimming hole. And as you can see, the kids were all having a wonderful time. Now it's on down to the lake. We'll take a short drive. It's only about a mile or so from where George Hole is, right through the campgrounds. And we'll show you the lake. We're going to go on a little boat tour, and we hope you enjoy it. The lake is pretty good size. It has obviously boats that you can rent, kayaks and canoes. You can fish in the lake. You cannot use gasoline-powered gasoline engines, but you can use electric trolling motors on the lake if you bring your own. They do not rent them here at the lake. That across the street there is the hotel being rebuilt. As of the time that I publish this, it will be reopened and you'll be able to stay at this very nice hotel. Your friend?
Hey.
January is what they're hoping for.
What are we doing today? What lake are we at?
I have no idea. I don't know what lake this is.
In January of 2022, the complete renovation of the hotel is scheduled to be completed and it's supposed to be opened. It looks like it'll be a beautiful job. Obviously, the location is just gorgeous. Now coming into view are some of the lakeside houses that you can rent. You can literally fish off some of the balconies that are in these lakeside houses. There's a series of those. Some are on the lake, some are not on the lake, but there's several of them and they're very nice.
Right in the back of this. You can't really see it right now because the lake's a little bit high, but when the water was low a couple years ago, they actually worked on our spillway and it dropped the water really low and they built a big dam. It's all kind of went away now. That's what they call that. So it's a lot of fish there. That stays the kind of
Well, you get the idea. It's a pretty good sized lake. It's beautiful, a lot of greenery, and we had a very enjoyable hour on the lake as we went on our little tour. Let's move on to the next. I think next we're going to move on to take a look at some of the waterfalls that are in the area. I think you'll enjoy taking a look at them. They're beautiful. Our first visit will be to Kane Falls, which is just a short walk from the visitor center down to the Overlook. You can hike if you would like down to the bottom of the falls, which is the case I think with all the falls here. However, that might just be a little aggressive for Kathy and I. Take a look at it, but make sure you make a realistic decision before you set out to do that. I think if you look very close, you can see somebody walking down along the water's edge down there. May have to look really close because it's quite a drop down to the bottom of the falls. Next, we'll visit Piney Falls Overlook, which is about 3 or 4 miles further up the river. It's a beautiful overlook. I hiked on out to it. The hike itself was a little aggressive for Kathy, and she didn't feel like going out, so I went out by myself. As you can see, it gets a little steep. It's very rocky. No handrails or any improvements like that. Be a little difficult for somebody who's not real stable afoot to be able to go out to this overlook. So might want to be a little selective on deciding if to go out and view this site. The hike from the parking lot down to the Overlook was only about a quarter of a mile, not much more than that, but again, you can take a look at some of these rocks are a little difficult to climb over, and if you are struggling with your balance a little bit or unsure about your leg strength, this might not be the hike for you. I have pretty much left the video unedited, so you get a feel for what the hike is like. And again, it's fairly aggressive for somebody who's a senior citizen to be making this little hike. A lot of us can handle it, but you need to be cautious. You could take a nasty fall on something like that. That could challenge some of us. So you can start to see the falls off in the middle of the screen there as I get a little closer to the Overlook. The Overlook is not a finished product. There's no rails, so you need to be a little bit cautious.
No, I'm good. Whenever you're done, sweetie, it's not a problem. I'm in no big hurry. You just relax and enjoy it.
You can hike around to the bottom of the falls. I chose not to do it. We were a little tired that day, and Kathy didn't want to make the trek, so we didn't go to the bottom of the falls. But the hike out here to the Overlook, so we could get some video of it, was well worth my efforts. I enjoyed it. I met some nice people out at the end of the Overlook, and we enjoyed the trip overall.
Folks, to make a point, I think my wife could do some. This coming down here is just a little too far. Do you know, is this all the same river? Or are there multiple rivers? Yeah. This is Piney. That's a pretty good river for it. Oh, thank you. I just can't get orientated that this is all the same waterfall flow. Yeah, Kane Creek.
Well, it's time to head back up to the car from the Overlook. Here's a nice couple I met down at the Overlook, coming back up. But you get a feel for the steepness of the terrain and some of the challenges as you walk back up to the parking area. Well, the last of the falls that we're going to go visit is Falls Creek Falls. I decided to put that on another video, so that'll be part 3 of this 3-part series. Join us over there and I'll take you down to the bottom of Falls Creek Falls.